New York City is pro-tenant, and I will tell you exactly why right now. What's going on, good guys? Chris Newman here, Chris Newman Real Estate, chrisnewmanrealestate.com. Let's talk about it. NYC, New York City is pro-tenant. This right here is for the landlords. The tenants can definitely watch this. This is for the landlords, however, so tenants, at your own risk. Landlords, welcome into the conversation. What do I mean when I say New York City is a pro-tenant geography? As far as the courts are concerned, in New York City, the priority is to protect the tenants. Why? Because there were, and there's still going to be landlords that do not care about the property, these slumlords that don't care about the property, the tenant, the living conditions, so on and so forth. They want to take advantage of the tenants. They want to have the tenants pay all of this money and give them no leeway on anything, as far as the refrigerator can be broken, the stove can be broken, the windows can be broken, it can be cold. They're not the gas and so on and so forth. The heating is terrible. There's no insulation. So New York City, probably whole New York State, but right now we're talking about New York City, they are protecting the tenants. This is a great thing. I am okay with New York City, New York State. I'm okay with everywhere protecting the rights of the tenant. What I'm not okay with is when the tenants take advantage of the system and now put these landlords in a place to where they're uncomfortable or they can't afford the property. Okay, so for example, the eviction process. The eviction process is a long, tedious process, especially post-COVID. Why? A lot of tenants were unable to pay the rent. So now what happened was the courts put in place these rental emergency assistance programs to be able to help the tenants pay the landlord to not get evicted. That's totally great. My problem is the tenants that now go into the property and say, you know what, after a month or two, I no longer want to pay the rent. After 3 or 4 months, I no longer want to pay the rent. I want to buy extra furniture. I want to do this. I want to go on vacation. I want to blah. And now the landlord has to take them to court. Okay, the landlord has to take them to court. What happens when the landlord takes them to court? The process is so long, it basically buys the tenant another year to live into that apartment for free at the landlord's expense. The landlord still has to take care of the utilities if the utilities are included in the rent. The landlord is not getting paid for those months that the tenants are there. However, the landlord must continue to pay the mortgage. That's not taken into consideration for whatever reason. So now the landlords are forced to sell. However, buyers want the property vacated. So now what has to happen? A tenant buyout agreement. So now the tenants are now being incentivized to put landlords in a bad situation. Why? Because now the landlord can't afford it. They don't want to file bankruptcy. They don't want this stuff on their credit. They want to keep the relationships they have with the bank. So now they have to pay the tenant to move because the tenant did not want to pay to live there. That's crazy. So what has to happen is these courts, the judicial system, as far as the real estate industry all over, but we're focusing on the real estate industry, has to be amended in a way that's favorable for both parties. I'm not okay with landlords treating tenants badly. No. However, I don't want landlords having to spend a year or 2 years in court because these tenants don't want to pay the rent willingly. I know landlords with tenants that make hundreds of thousands a year and will not pay the rent. Now you got to go to court. And now it's going to take a month, 2 months, a year and a half to get these guys out. The typical process is this. You hire an attorney, you file for the evictions to start. They have to get served. This is going to take about a month or two. Okay, they get served. Do they answer? Yada, whatever. First court date, they don't show up, whatever. Second court date, they show up. The judge asks them, okay, do you have an attorney? No. Do you want an attorney? Yes. we'll appoint you an attorney. What happens after that? The attorney now comes. So, but that happens within 2 months now. So now you have another 45 days, 45 to 60 days. Okay, so now what happens after that? The attorney comes. We want to adjourn the case. The case gets adjourned for another 2 to 3 months. Now, after the case gets adjourned for 2 to 3 months, it's the final court date. Okay, can this be resolved? No. Okay, so now we're going to set a trial date. Trial date gets pushed for another 2 to 3 months. Okay, now we're here. They have to leave. Okay, so now we're going to give them another 3 to 5 to 6 months possibly to find another place. This is crazy. This is crazy. And then the New York courts are backed up. So this doesn't happen in 30 days like it used to, 45 days like it used to. This is taking a year, sometimes 2 years to get these tenants out. That's insane. That's insane. But that's just what it is in New York. New York is a pro-tenant geography, okay? Like, comment, subscribe if you guys agree. You guys want to hear more conversations like this? Let's talk about it. Talk to you guys soon. Hit that subscribe button. Later.